What's up, guys? So today we're doing a tier list for Operation Prep Phase with Rauora. And yeah, we're going through S tier with basically being you need to bring this operator as much as you can. You'll probably do good. And D tier being very situational, if not throwing, bringing this up. So let's get to it. Starting with the attackers. Rauora. We're going to place at the B tier. I don't think that she's going to be a game-breaking operator in any real way, and if anything, you could probably convince me to go C tier, but I like that she's more of an execute op like Grim or Ying. She's not really a flank watch, because I think Nomad and Gridlock do the flank watch job a little bit better than her. It's more of an execute op. You can close off an angle, close off a door, and then you can push in. I think that she can be useful, but it's going to be a little bit more situational. Definitely not super strong. All right, now for the rest of the attackers, I'll be doing these a little faster than that. I just wanted to really talk about the new op. Striker, B tier, can open up a wall by himself, but kind of just, you know, middle of the road. Sledge, in the current meta, I would probably play Sledge around the B tier. You can only make Vert down, which is still good. Sledge is still a good op, but I think an operator like Buck is a little bit better. I don't know if I place Buck at S tier. My gut says I place Buck at S tier because his verticality is just so useful up or down. He's just like always in the fight, and he's a really good entry. I'm placing Buck at S. I'm going to go with my gut reaction on all these ops and just go off of that. Thatcher, A tier. Really good at destroying, like, you know, disabling utility so you can make a push. I wouldn't place him in S because he has to be paired with other things to be useful. Ash, best entry in the game. High speed, good guns. Really good at just, you know, entering the map and, you know, finding kills. Thermite, A tier, again, has to be paired with another op most of the time to be effective and useful. Twitch, B tier. You're on your drone a lot. It can definitely slow you down. Decent weaponry, but useful. B tier is not bad by any means. Because like you may see me play something at B tier and be like, SenVale, that's at least an A tier. Maybe an A tier for you, but this is just kind of how I view the operator and how much utility they have, how much weaponry they have, how much ability they have to clear a room, a map, and, you know, push defenders out or, you know, find frags. I find Twitch being a B tier. Montaigne, I'm going based off the shield meta. I think Montaigne is an A tier because he's extremely annoying to deal with. Same with Blitz, I'd probably place at the A tier as well. So Montaigne is a little bit more like in your face of a defender, can really push people out of power positions. Blitz is more like go hard, go fast, and really pushes people out, and you can usually find kills as the shield. I don't like the shield meta, but you have to recognize that they are strong operators currently, so I'm going to place them pretty high because it is extremely annoying to have to deal with them. I mean, you see a shield on the board, like on the enemy team, and you know that some crazy shit's about to go down. Blackbeard, I'm placing him at B tier because he doesn't have like the survivability of Montaigne, and he doesn't have the punching power as of the Blitz. Blackbeard is just more kind of the all-rounder. You can take decent map control and then defend yourself, but his gun is pretty weak, but he does have that shield to really get into angles that he wouldn't normally be able to get to, and he does have grenades. So Blackbeard is good. You could try to argue that he is an A tier. He is extremely annoying to deal with. In fact, I gotta place him in the A tier. I hate that I'm placing shields this high, but I kind of have to. Like, shields is just so strong in Siege right now. Glaz, situational pick. I wouldn't consider it a throw pick, but very situational. Won't be used often. In fact, I would probably I can't place Glaz at D tier because I don't think it's absolutely throwing, but I definitely think it is a little bit lower on the board. Now, getting to that, we have a Fuse. I think that Fuse is going to be very rarely ever picked, and it's almost never useful because there's always something better to go, but can be good at clearing enemy util if you can find a situation to use it without getting flanked. IQ, again, same as Glaz. I mean, can be good. Good gun. Speed. Ability is good for finding gadgets before, you know, you can look before you leap kind of a situation, but doesn't really counter much other than like a Valkyrie. Like if Valk's on the board, because Valkyrie is a really good operator for the defenders, she is really good at finding those Val cams really quickly. But more of a situational pick for me, at least. All right, Capital. Capital to me has always been the Swiss Army knife of the attackers. Like, he has fire to push someone out of an angle. He has smokes to smoke off an angle. He has breaching charges, gun 6, an okay gun. He is basically has a lot going for him, but nothing like game breaking or like, he kind of needs the backup of other attackers because he just doesn't have enough speciality. Hibana, I think Hibana as well as the Ace are top tier attackers because you can open up walls from range safely and easily. Ace is more for out, like, you know, wall breaching. Hibana more for hatches, but can be used for walls. The reason why Thermite's a little bit lower is because Thermite's are a little bit easier to read for defenders to trick. Aces and Hibanas are a little bit harder to trick because you can like left, right, and with an paired with like a Thatcher, and then the wall's good. Even when there is a Thatcher and a Thermite, if they have a Bandit, the wall still can be closed and tricked fairly easily. With an Ace and Hibana, it's almost impossible if you're doing it correctly. I feel like these are just better operators, so you're not like just having a breaching charge in your hand. You can like throw it at a wall and then have your gun up defending yourself. Jackal, A tier, really good for the roam clear. Pretty simple, decent guns as well. Just making sure I'm not missing an attacker in here. Ying, really good sight execute op. Very annoying to deal with when used correctly. Hard countered by a Warden in a power position, but still very strong if that isn't the case. Dokkaebi, really strong attacker for clearing the map and taking control. Has EMP impacts when you need to use them for the wall or flashbangs for the entry. And you know, those calls can be really good for executes. Sophia, I placed her in C tier. She's just so slow to be, and her gun is just a little bit, I wouldn't say not usable because I can use her gun, but it's definitely not as good as other guns from what I've seen. Lion is easily at least an A tier operator. I struggle to place Lion at S tier, but definitely an A tier. Can be really useful for the clear. When you drone someone about to push someone, you do a Lion call. When you're about to go for an execute, you do a Lion call. You have good guns, grenades. I mean, Lion has a lot going on and is a really good fragger. All right, my favorite operators in the game, easily S. No, I'm just kidding. Fika is a B tier. Her guns are a little bit mediocre, but her heals definitely play a massive factor in almost every single round, and grenades for clearing are super good, but she doesn't have much more than that. So I think B tier, she sits there safely. Maverick, I'm placing Mav at, in the current meta, I'd place Maverick at B tier just because it is difficult to use and is more situational than other ops. Good guns, and it has flashbangs for entries, but a lot of times matches go really quick and you won't have time to fully map things open. If you get really good as Mav can be considered better, but I think that Mav sits safe at B tier. Nomad, I think, is easily an S tier operator pick for me. She is a good gun. She has flashbangs for entries, and air jabs are really good for flank watch. She does flank watch, I think, that probably the best out of any attacker. And honestly, with how old Ayana was with Nomad, I mean, Nomad is the new Ayana. I mean, she's basically everything Ayana had, but you also have air jabs. So Nomad, pretty high up. Gridlock, I think, is also a really good operator for the flank watch. Is slow though, so making the entry plays are going to be a little bit harder. Flank watch is still pretty good, especially better. I think that her flank watch is better on staircases than Nomad, but she also has grenades for clearing, so she's definitely high up there. But you know, if she was a 2-speed or a 3-speed, she'd be higher, but she's not. Knock in the current meta, I feel like there are capable knock plays you can make, but it's just very situational. And I struggle to place knock in C tier. I kind of want to place knock in D tier because it's just extremely situational to when it can be effective. Not that any of these operators on the board are horrible operators that we've listed so far. It's just their abilities with their kits are just more situational. Like, you might be better off with a different operator in said situations. So I think I'll place knock in D tier. Amaru, very situational. When you were trying to go hard and fast, boom, not a bad idea. Kali can be good for destroying utility, especially Miras and the sniper, but can kind of leave you a little lacking in most rounds. You don't want a sniper every round. Ayana in the current meta, honestly, to me, I don't really see much of a point of Ayana. I think that I used to be a Ayana main, and I just don't see a reason of bringing Ayana over Nomad unless you just want the gun. But if you want Ayana for just the gun, then go Nomad. Most Ayana players in 2025 don't even use her ability. They go Ayana for the gun. Then why aren't you going Nomad? I don't really get it fully. She does have EMP impacts, but there's so many other operators to pick that just have an overall better kit than EMP impacts. I mean, I could place Ayana at C tier if it will make people less mad at me, but I think that she's definitely a D tier. I'll leave her at C tier because her guns are really good and she can function as an entry pretty well. So there you go. Zero, kind of the Swiss Army knife in a current. I would say Zero is a C tier because he can do a little bit of everything, kind of like Capital, but he is a little bit worse of a Swiss Army knife. It does require a lot of team support to really get the most bang for your buck. Otherwise, if you're Zero using your cameras, you have a lot of cameras, but at some point you got to do something. I mean, I'm 31 champion in the world right now. You just don't see many Zero players because you're on your camera most of the round. You're not shooting at people. You're not helping your teammates push with aggression. Zero can be useful, but it's very rare. So, Flores, I think this one is a pretty obvious one, at least at an A tier. Really good at destroying enemy util. In fact, I struggle to place Flores even at A tier. I kind of want to place Flores at S tier. He's just really good at opening up a point that you can walk in. You know what? I'll place it Flores at S tier. If I have to think about it, I gotta just do it. Flores are just really good at destroying enemy util and just opening up a hole that you can actually push through. More than any other op. A lot more explosive utility destruction than any other op. We have Osa. More of a situational pick. Can be extremely strong in certain situations, like for a bank execute or a border execute on archives. The shields can be really useful, but it is a little bit more of a slower paced op or very strategic op that it won't get as much gameplay. Sens, again, situational, can be strong, but again requires strategic gameplay and executes with a 5-stack that can be useful, but Sens by themselves is a little lacking from what I've seen. Grim. Grim is at least at an A tier. I honestly want to go Grim S tier. Let me place Grim there. Grim has a really good gun. You have a shotgun for, floor holes or angles. You have a hard breach charge if you want it, and you have bees that push defenders out of enemy positions. And honestly, I'm placing Grim at S tier. You guys can fight me all you want. 3-speed as well. Grim is just any operator that has the ability to push defenders out into situations that are going to get them killed, to me, are going to be rated higher than others because that is just an extremely strong ability to have and use in the current meta. That's why I place Rauora at B tier, because I do think that Grim does this job better. Ying does it, pretty good as well. And then Rauora does it a little bit worse. Joe. All right. Brava. B tier. Really useful with when the defenders bring a lot of util that you can hack, but Otherwise, if they don't bring you until you can't hack, then you're just, you know, you have a good gun and you have a shotgun, but you're not really hacking anything. Hey, Ram, really good at just, you know, opening up the flooring. But again, like Sledge can only open up the floor. I feel like Ram is better than Sledge in the sense of you can open up the floor. Sledge does have grenades. Ram does not. Buck can open up the floor and the ceiling. So like Buck is better for just both, with Ram and Sledge being only for vertical straight down. We have Deimos. Deimos, I would have to say, is at least at an A tier. I feel like his revolver, if a lot of you guys have tried it, can be tough to use compared to other guns, but his ability to push a defender out of a position is so damn strong that it's almost broken. And like Buck, he can kind of work the flooring as well from underneath with that revolver. It does work pretty well. And if you want to be a psychopath, you can use Deimos main shotgun with a revolver secondary and still do pretty good. All right, I think these are the attackers. Yep, these are the attackers. All right, this is my tier list for the attackers, and now we're going to swap to the defenders. Do you guys have any opinions on who you would change up or down? Let me know down below in the comments. This is just how I view the game in terms of my opinion on how often an operator is going to be useful versus useless, almost. In terms of, you know, how often you're going to bring this operator on any map on any site and how much effectiveness you're going to get out of that operator. Yeah, you can pick any operator. I can go Fuse and drop an ace against a pro stack, but does that mean Fuse is a broken operator? No. Like, all operators can be good in the right hands. This is just how I view the operators overall. All right, now defenders. All right, we have Sentry. Unlike Striker, I'm placing Sentry a little bit lower. Sentry is C tier. Having a Nitro is always good, and you can have impacts as well. But other operators can bring those things too, and other things. I feel like you're just missing a lot of kit with Sentry. So I'm placing Sentry at C tier. Good guns. If you put a fragger on Sentry, you'll do pretty well, but like just the overall util to me is a little bit. Smoke. It's hard to place Smoke lower than S tier. I don't think I will. I think Smoke is better than Mute for one reason and one reason alone. Smoke is a 2-speed and Mute is a 3 armor. Smoke swinging with a shotgun is a lot harder to deal with than Mute swinging with a shotgun. Mute makes a lot more noise. Mute's ability overall, I would argue, is better than Smoke's. The anti-intel game is super strong. In fact, it's so good I have to place them both at S, but the Smoke-Mute combo goes hard. If you have a Smoke and a Mute player every single round of every single game, chances are you're probably going to do pretty good if they're decent players. Both is really good. All right. Castle. I'm placing him at B tier. Castle can be extremely valuable on certain maps, on certain sites, but don't pick Castle on every single site of every single map and try to make a labyrinth for your team to work around. You are going to end up throwing. Be very smart with Castle, because Castle can be an A to an S tier operator in the right hands, but in the wrong hands, he can be a C or a D tier operator. So I'm placing him right in the middle. Doc, in the current meta, I would have to place Doc at A tier. The heals that you get for Doc of being able to heal anyone to full. Let's say someone goes out for a spawn peek and they kill someone and have 20 health left. Now they're full health, like nothing even happened. It's just such a useful ability in every round. You do have a bailiff to set up the site. You do have barbed wire to slow attackers down. I mean, Doc is just, to me, is like the cornerstone of a good defense in just most matches, because MP5 ACOG, ability to heal if you ever take any chip damage, and heal anyone that was hurt to full health. I said, but what about Thunderbird? Thunderbird does that too. Well, Thunderbird's ability does heal pretty decent, and it heals all the way after time, but it's not as fast. And with the overall kit on Thunderbird, I just view it a lot weaker. So I'm placing Thunderbird at C tier. Pulse. Very situational. I want to place Pulse here, but I just feel like he's a lot more situational. Once the enemy knows there is a Pulse on the board, a lot of times you will get cleared and you can't function as Pulse anymore. So one of those pocket picks that, like, when it's good, it's like A or S tier, but normally it's going to be a little bit lower. Rook. I struggled to place Rook next to these three operators. So I'm placing Rook at D tier. My biggest thought is, why go Rook if you can just go Doc? If I place Rook at C tier, I have to place Doc at S tier, and I just don't think that Doc has the same level of kit as them. Capkin without the Nitro. Gadgets that can kill attackers without having to be there or have your gun up. I'm going to view them a little bit stronger because you know an angle or door is being watched until they destroy that util, and it can kill the enemy team when you're not even there. Even at the highest elo, you're going to see people dying to Capkin traps. You're going to see people dying to Frost traps. It's just how it goes. I mean, it's pretty strong, even without the Nitro. Capkin with the Nitro is a little bit higher, but without the Nitro, a little bit lower, but still usable and valuable. Tachanka, I just don't see much of a point. You can have some lineups as Tachanka, but I just think that Smoke just does Tachanka's job better in almost every situation. So to me, that's kind of easy. Yeg in the current meta, I mean, the ability to not being able to replace your ADSs easily definitely makes Jaeger, to me, a little bit weaker. Gun is really nice, though, but I just feel like he pales in comparison to the Womai, who I think Womai is a lot more useful. Do I place Womai at B tier? I think the current meta is a lot of speed and aggression, and anything that, you know, helps deny that or stop that is really good. But Womai, I mean, even when you can replace them, you get a lot more than the Yeg. But I just don't, I don't know. Like, I feel like the meta has fallen off of the Womai and Yeg. They've lowered the amount of flashbangs you have. Grenades aren't as good. You know, I just feel like they kind of got left in the dust a little bit, because even if they get their even if attackers get their util off, it almost doesn't even matter. It is useful to have these operators occasionally for certain holds, but I feel like you can never run Womai or Jaeger and probably end up being okay most of the time. Not all the time. Not all the time. Now we have Bandit, B tier. Certain situations, extremely strong. Other situations, you're not doing anything with it other than having a 3-speed MP7 with a Nitro, which is good, but Bandit, I focus more on the utility. But even when they open up my wallet when I'm playing Bandit, I still like playing Bandit because I'm like, you know, I got a gun, I slowed them down, I just wasted some of their time, and I have a Nitro, and I can run around really fast. So Frost, I feel like, is an easy A tier to me because of you have the shield, you have a decent long range gun to hold off the sight, and frost mats for window hop-ins, which are extremely annoying. With SenVale, it's really easy to shoot frost mats. Yeah, but when you hop in a window, you have to shoot straight down and then at somebody, versus hopping in the window and just shooting at somebody instantly. I feel like it slows a lot of down, and you get frost mat kills all the time. Valkyrie, to me, is an easy S tier operator. Decent gun, Nitro, okay speed, 2-speed. And cameras that can go literally anywhere that are extremely hard to deal with unless you have an IQ. But Valkyrie's like almost always banned because you get so many Nitros through the floor when you have a Valkyrie on your team. I mean, Valkyrie's good. Valkyrie's never not good. Caveira, D tier. I mean, I love playing Caveira. In terms of fun, I place Caveira at S tier. Caveira is one of the most fun operators to play, but not one of the best operators to play. Really fun to sneak around, but it's just not as useful as other ops. Can be good, can win around, but just not as useful as other ops. Echo, honestly, I view Echo in the current meta. I can't place Echo at B tier, but I will place him at C tier. Cameras that can run around the site, run around the map, super useful if you're calming. And guns are good with impacts, bearing 9. It's really tough to place Echo at C tier, so I won't. I don't know. maybe a questionable pick for me, but I feel like Echo's overall kit is just extremely strong. It's like, why go Rook if you can go Doc? If someone picks Doc, then just go Echo, and it's just more value. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it just makes sense. Mira, easy S tier. But SenVale, doesn't she get counted by Ash? She gonna just blow up her shield, blow up a Mira. That's when you bring operators like Wamai or Yeg, and then now that Mira position can really never get pushed unless they go underneath and really take time to figure out how they're going to clear that Mira. She completely changes the objective of the game. It's extremely annoying. You have to destroy her Mira to even have a chance at winning the round most of the time. That's why I think that she's an S tier operator, because it forces the attackers to have to clear another situation versus just, oh, I can go into sight because nobody's there, or I can just walk in and shoot them in the head. It's another thing they physically have to clear, or they have no chance. Legion, even with the slight nerfs that Legion's had, I view Legion as one of the best operators on defense because of your ability to hold a ton of map control with your Legions. You have a really good SMG. You have a camera, which is okay. A shotgun for making sight holes, rotates, whatever you need, floor holes. And you guys will see me playing Legion most of the time, and there's a reason for that. Legion's just always good. I can pick Legion any round on defense on any map and get effectiveness out of it. It's extremely strong. Ella, kind of the same thing as Legion, but you don't have as many traps, and the guns are a little bit harder to use. But I will place Ella at... I can't place B tier. I'm going to go C tier. The gun is tough to use compared to other defenders, so I will place her a little bit lower. Vigil... good at roaming, Bashji, but, you know, you're really picking Vigil for the gun. Let's be real. Most of you guys that play Vigil are picking Vigil for the Bashji and the SMG-12. There's not much other reason that you're picking Vigil. I like his gadget, though. I'm sure you do, but... One thing that people forget about Vigil, because they don't really use his ability very often, is like you can run through like Grim Bees. Deimos can't track you. Like, if people are going for a Grim execute, you can literally run through the bees with your scanner up, and it won't scan you. It will catch a Grim off guard with his pants down all the time doing that. A lot of people forget that. So it's still useful, but... Maestro, I'm going to place Maestro at the B tier because, again, it becomes like another situational op, like kind of like Mira, where you kind of have to clear these things. It's not as strong as the Mira windows, but with a Brava, you can basically take the Maestro cams in like 5 seconds. So Maestro has some hard counters, but you have 3 cameras that are extremely annoying to deal with and can do damage and be really annoying to attackers. So B tier, I think, is safe. And you do have that Defender as LMG, which is kind of interesting when you get a clip with that. Alibi, I just don't see much of a reason of Alibi anymore in the current meta. I struggle to even place her at C tier, so I'm placing her at D tier. I just don't see a point. There's a lot of better options. There's for like literally every category. I mean, if you're going for just the Storm, then maybe place her at C tier, but like... I place Pulse here. I can't place Alibi on the same level as Pulse. Like, I could place Pulse and Yeg up more. Let's mix and match this a little bit, because I've struggled to place Alibi that far down. So I raise Wamai up to A tier. Yeg's at B tier with Pulse. That's fine. I can live with that. Clash. I want to place Clash at D tier, but Clash can be extremely damn annoying to deal with. Kind of like Mira, it's another situation you have to figure out. Either going around the Clash or going through the Clash. It's just another objective you have to clear. But again, picking the Clash means that you don't have another defender with a gun. So it does make it a little easier for attackers to really push, because you know most of the time that the Clash is probably not going to shoot at you. Cade, S tier. Don't really need to think about that one at all. Only operating the game that can deny hatches and trick hatches. You can do a lot of fancy things with Cade. Guns are tough to use sometimes, but overall, the kit makes up for it. All right. Make sure I'm not missing any defenders as I go. Mozzie, C tier, really good for anti-intel, but like again, just kind of sits towards the bottom of the board. Like if you aren't getting kills with some of the operators on C tier, you're not really doing much for your team because you don't have that much util. For most of the operators, obviously the operator clash, that's not really applicable, but Warden, I do feel like Warden does stop a lot of the pushes and can be extremely useful. But can I place Warden at B tier? I feel like he's a counter pocket pick. Like if you know they're going like Ying and Flashbang heavy, picking a Warden is not necessarily a bad idea. But I feel like Warden on any given round is just going to be kind of like eh. Goyo, I like Goyo in ranked especially because you have a really good gun, you have impacts, and his fire really prevent rushes. It gives you guys plenty of time to figure out where are they coming from, what are they hitting. Yeah, but you could just destroy all his Goyos at the start of the round, but then, you know, every Goyo fire lasts for about 20 seconds. You have plenty of time to reposition, figure out what they're doing. It just gives you a little bit of that stall factor to like, okay, we know what's going on. And you can even deny plant if they don't destroy your Goyos in a reasonable amount of time, cause them to have to run in through fire, which I'm not sure if you guys have done, but I definitely have. When you have like not enough time left, the Goyo fire goes off and you just have to run through the fire. It is very hard to win when that happens. Oryx got buffed a little bit, but again, I just feel like he just kind of sits near the bottom. He's going to be extremely useful in some maps with the rotation ability, but overall just kind of sits low because I think Leisha just does his job better on most maps. Melusi, B tier. Really easy to deal with Banshees, but extremely annoying to deal with if you don't. And she does have an MP5, but no ACOG impacts, and she's really slow. So a lot of people don't like running Melusi, but I don't think anyone will argue that Melusi's ability to, you know, make a bunch of noise when people are crouch walking around is extremely valuable. Aruni, I gotta place Aruni at A tier because in terms of denial with like, you know, 80 grenades and whatever, in the current meta, I feel like Aruni is one of the strongest. And she has a Defender DMR, which is extremely strong with barely any recoil with 20 bullets. And Defender DMRs are extremely strong. Two Brow, again, Defender DMR. But with Two Brow, you get a little bit more. You get a little bit of wall denial. When you pair Two Brow with a Cade or a Bandit, you can now trick a wall no matter what, even when they have EMPs in certain situations. It's super strong. Two Brow's DMR is a little bit stronger than Aruni's, but has half the mag capacity. Aruni, you can just like, you know, just tap as fast as you can, just let that thing spray an angle down. Two Brow, you kind of have to pick your shots a little bit more, but still, this thing 2 taps. The Aruni DMR, sometimes 2 taps, but mostly 3 taps. So, Defender DMRs are super strong. Thorn, I cannot place Thorn rightfully in C tier. I can't do it. I did it with Alibi, but I feel like Alibi makes more sense because she can set up more. Thorn can't really set up at all, and you don't really offer much. Yeah, you have a trap that can kill, but it barely ever will kill anyone, if anyone, unless you're like in silver or bronze, copper elo. So I don't know. I think I'm safe placing her D tier. I like her gun though, but I don't think her gun's good enough to justify being equal to any of the operators in C tier. Azami, easy S tier, one of the best operators on defense. Again, another operator where it's like you have to clear another objective, clear Azami out of her corner, out of her barriers, and you could just shoot them down, sure, but remember when you're shooting them down, Azami can shoot at you. So, whew. All right, we're almost there. We have Solis in the current meta. I would say Solis is... I feel like Solis was a victim of that buff of Doom. So the Solis was way too strong for too long that they nerfed her into the pavement, and I just don't think that she really has anything that is useful. She can be good in competitive situations, so I could place her a little bit higher, but I just don't see it happening very often. I'll play solos at C tier just because I know someone's gonna freak out, but I think that she's at the bottom of C tier, if even C tier. Fenrir B tier, got a little bit of nerf too. His gas isn't as impactful as it used to be, but it's still pretty strong. It's super annoying to deal with, but it's pretty easy to deal with nowadays. Still really strong though. Scopos. I play Scopos at B tier as I think Scopos can be an extremely strong roamer, placing a robot off the site so you can teleport to it whenever you want because you can teleport between the robots, or you can place a Scopos shield like I mostly play Scopos as like a mirror that you can place anywhere. You place a shield down, you have like bulletproof glass you can peek out from, and a shield that has a camera when you're like, okay, I don't want to be on the shield anymore. Someone watch my Scopos shield, and now you have a camera watching that angle. It just has a lot of utility that you can use on site as well as off site. I feel like Scopos is kind of a, you can play wherever you want in that situation, and I feel like she's really strong on either one. So, all right, this is my Defender tier list. Here are my tier lists. I appreciate you guys stopping by, hanging out, having a good time. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment. And, we'll be doing more content on YouTube. Daily uploads. We'll be streaming on Twitch around 10 to 11 p.m. EST every day. We got some more content with Jinxie coming up soon. We're doing the Boomer versus Young Gun 5v5. I'm the team captain for the Boomer stack. So, should be a good time. They should stop by for all that. And, yeah. Peace out. Until next time. A.